Hey guys, welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. Today's video is a dungeon guide for the 30th anniversary dungeon, Grasp of Avarice, and how to get the returning exotic rocket launcher, Gjallarhorn. Real quick, this video won't be going into any secrets or hidden chests because I haven't found them all as of this recording, but I will keep the channel or stream updated when I learn more. If you like this guide though, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and stay tuned for more news and content regarding the 30th expansion and the upcoming Witch Queen expansion as well. Getting right into things, loading into the dungeon, you start off at the old loot cave from D1 in the Cosmodrome, where hordes of ads are pouring out. These will drop exotic engram-like motes on defeat, and picking one up will grant you the Burdened by Riches debuff, with a corresponding count to how many you've picked up. Quick note, you'll have 30 seconds after picking up an exotic mote to either refresh the timer by picking up another mote or depositing your stacks into crystals. If the timer runs out, you instantly die. To enter this dungeon and to start all of these encounters, simply collect around 50 total stacks and stand near the crystal inside the loot cave. This will stop the timer on your debuff while draining 2 stacks at a time. This mechanic is central for this encounter, so the basic understanding of this will do you a lot of good. After depositing your stacks, you'll fall into a crystal room where a Shrieker and other hive will be waiting. Simply defeat them and move forward. As you continue, you'll arrive at the rusted gangplank where the first puzzle occurs. I'll show you the correct path now on screen while explaining the basics. Summed up, there are a lot of death traps in this dungeon, and you need to follow a specific route to stay alive, as dying will reset your progress if you're solo, or if everyone in your fire team dies, a reset will also happen. Avoid any panels on the ground like the one shown on screen, as stepping on them will trigger spikes that instantly kill you, as well as avoiding any kind of interactions you simply don't need to, as some interactions on panels or doors are simply death traps that will just instantly kill you. As you activate the various panels and make your way to the fan rooms, go to the closest left fan, stand on the pad, and jump up through the shaft. Make your way up the corridor while avoiding the pressure plate on the jump up and the falling panels at the very end, and like that, you've beaten the first part of the puzzle. Once you've completed that part, you'll now respawn at the top of the corridor, so this is a checkpoint for you. Just make sure that you don't die at any point along the way getting here, because it does reset you back to the start of that puzzle. Entering the next room, activate the panel to open a door to the reservoir. Travel across the next open section while avoiding the panels on the floor, once again, which will trigger spike traps, and activate the control panel over there. This section more or less repeats this process, so simply jump across the reservoir again, kill ads, and activate the panel. After 3 total activations, a Shrieker will spawn in the middle, and a main door at the end of the reservoir will open up. Either kill or avoid the Shrieker and make your way to the other end, where you'll kill some ads, activate a final panel, and make your way back to the other side. From here, kill the remaining ads and activate the door on the right, as the door on the left will kill you with a spike trap. Opening the door on the right will trigger the next section, where you have 4 numbered platforms suspended in a giant holding tank. Again, be sure not to fall as you will die. Make your way to the platform numbering 1 and activate the switch. From here, go to platform number 3, kill ads, and activate the panel inside. Rotate around to the number 2 platform, kill ads, and activate the panel. This again repeats, recurring to platforms number 1 and then number 2, where you'll kill a vandal with a Scorch Cannon. Pick this Scorch Cannon up and head to the number 4 platform. Here on the right, you'll see an arc charge depositor. Fire the Scorch Cannon into the depositor and hold it for a bit until it gets to its final charge phase, then release, or simply fire it a few times into it to achieve the same effect. This will cause the door to open, and before you run up, a barrel will fall down the ramp and kill you once you get far enough. About a third of the way up is when it triggers. Simply avoid it by hiding in the walls to your left or right when it appears. Then make your way up, travel through the corridor to the next section. From here, as you make your way through the building, climb up the crates as you see on screen, and make your way through the vents across the chasm and to the first boss encounter. The fight mechanic is identical to the start of the raid, where you gain stacks of Burdened by Riches and deposit them into the crystal near the start of the encounter. It's worth noting that around 25 stacks or so will be enough to trigger damage phase for this boss fight. Simply put, you get these stacks by killing Hive, which 4 will always spawn at the start. When you want to spawn more and need to keep up with your timer, kill the Scorch Cannon Vandal and shoot either the left or right arc depositor on the walls of the arena. Doing so will spawn Hive in those designated rooms. Once again, either a nearly fully charged blast or 3 to 4 regular shots will activate the depositor. Once you bring enough stacks to the crystal in the back, we'll call him Phil. Phil the Insatiable has succumbed to temptation will appear on your screen, meaning its damage phase. The boss will move to the crystal and raise his hands, releasing energy. This means that he is vulnerable to damage and damage phase is officially active. But he can still mount you very easily, so choose your damage method wisely and try to stay behind cover if you can. Personally, Sleeper is hitting extremely hard after its buff, but 1k also works extremely well, and if anyone has Gjallarhorn from past completions, that works extremely well too. Any really good total damage outputs are fantastic, as this guy has a ton of health, and anything that can continue going through multiple phases without running low on ammo is incredibly important. But a coordinated fire team with a bubble or a well and a debuff should be able to comfortably 3-phase or even 2-phase him. I did this with a friend and it took us 4 phases, but we were kind of scuffed as it was the first time for us doing it. Biggest thing is the boss constantly shoots a void beam that will melt you if you get caught, so a dual void resist mod is highly recommended. After you complete the damage phases and kill Phil, it's time to move on to the next encounter. After killing Phil, you move on to the next encounter where any Sparrow Racing skills come into play with a Sparrow Racing themed encounter and event. Interacting with the left panel as shown on screen starts the encounter, and you need to be as fast as possible to complete this one. The brutal time constraints on this encounter mean that any mistake is a wipe, but around the map are hidden buttons similar to the ones found in the Scourge of the Past raid that gain a few seconds to your timer as you run over them. As you drive on your Sparrow, simply drive under the designated bomb points on the track as fast as you can. If you are in a fire team, you have a huge advantage as you can have one person designated to simply going as fast as possible, while other people are dedicated to grabbing buttons for your team, increasing the countdown that you actually have to complete this encounter and move on to the next checkpoint. You don't need to follow the path that I took on screen, as I was dedicated to grabbing buttons so we would have enough time to complete the encounter, but it will show you how to get to the end. Also, once you make it to the end, the actual skull cave that you fly into, climb up to the skull's left eye and collect the secret chest for your reward. I know I said no secrets, but this is the only chest I actually do know about, so it's worth pointing out. The next encounter is fairly easy, but it does take a while, so have some patience. You're going to drop down a massive opening where you'll see a giant hot air balloon. The whole point of this encounter is to detonate the charges on the side of the balloon through the use of the gravity lifts and the servitors. Use the gravity lifts to travel across the map, as the water below will kill you, and as you go to each different section, there's a chance a servitor with a shield will be there. To drop its shield, simply kill ads and pick up exotic motes, where you will then take your Burden by Riches stack over to the crystal until it's totally formed like all previous encounters. From here, kill the servitor, and its body will remain as a movable ball, which you will then maneuver to the gravity lifts, power with the Scorch Cannon, and by firing it into the attached arc charge depositor, and it will fly into the charges on the balloon, detonating them. You need to traverse the map till you accomplish this 4 times, and then you're done. Quick note, the gravity lifts can often kill you with fall damage on your way down, so be sure to jump. Also, you can rotate the gravity lifts to launch you to other sections of the map, but the original orientation of the lifts should work for launching the servitors first. Once all 4 are done, simply head to the middle of the map, under the balloon, and take the lift up to the final encounter. Once you get to the boss room, simply familiarize yourself with the layout, and when you're ready to start, approach the exotic mote in the middle. The same mechanic is implemented here, but the boss, known as Captain Avaruk the Covetous, has a lot of adds and majors at its disposal. The same regular Fallen and Scorch Vandals will spawn, but in addition, an extremely deadly and tanky Sniper Shank will spawn in the middle, alongside a unique Major Vandal. The Sniper doesn't have a unique mechanic to him, but it hits like a truck and is way harder to kill than you will ever think. Vandal that runs around the map and steals your exotic motes, which I will talk more on now. You complete this encounter by simply killing Scorch Vandals, shooting the arc receptors attached to the middle structure on the map for each of the corresponding sides, and exploding them. When you do, 10 motes will spawn on all 3 sides of the map, and you need about 60 or so to trigger a damage phase in its center. So it's recommended to shoot 2 arc depositors before dumping your stacks into the central crystal. Also, when you shoot a depositor, it's deactivated on that side until you activate another one, so just keep that in mind as you plan where you're actually going to be using your Scorch Cannon. The Major Vandal will run around the map and steal motes on the ground that you haven't picked up, but if you kill him, he drops all the motes he's gathered so far, and he doesn't put up much of a fight. When you've deposited enough stacks in the center, Avaruk the Covetous has succumbed to temptation will appear on your screen, and he'll be able to take damage. He'll move to the back of the maps, near that weird throne area, and it's important to decide where to set up based on what your group is using to do the best DPS on the boss. He'll move to the back of the map near that throne area, so plan accordingly how you're going to deal with him with what weapons you have and with your fire team. Same recommendations for weapons as before, and any buffs or debuffs go a long way in this fight. He can still melt you if you're not careful, so stay alert for his attacks. Keep in mind that after a damage phase, the Shank and Major Vandal will respawn, so watch out for them as you return back to the regular encounter. Like all encounters with motes, time management is key, so be sure to communicate with your team how much time you have left or when you'll be spawning more motes. Simply repeat this until the boss is dead and you're almost there. Now that the dungeon mechanics and dungeon counters are out of the way, I'm going to briefly touch on how to actually finish the Gjallarhorn exotic quest for you guys who actually follow along with this guide. Go talk to Gjallarhorn in the Cosmodrome, kill some high-level Fallen, talk to Banshee, complete the Exodus Garden to a Lost Sector, which is also a great place to find the high-level Fallen needed in the previous mission section, and reassemble the Gjallarhorn near Gjallarhorn. Then finally talk to Gjallarhorn one last time, and boom, just like that, you have your Gjallarhorn. Like I said, guys, this guide was for the default dungeon on Legend difficulty without any lore pieces or collectibles, as well as the end part of the Gjallarhorn quest, as everything before that is pretty straightforward. If Master difficulty is different, I'll be sure to touch on it in a future video, but as of writing this, I just finished the Legend difficulty dungeon and wanted to get this out as soon as possible. As far as Gjallarhorn goes, it hits incredibly strong and has a lot of unique perks going for it. I'll be giving it a review either in a build guide or just on its own in a dedicated video, and will most likely be discussing this on stream. So if you're wondering about my thoughts on the weapon, stay tuned for more. But that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you thought of the video down below in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more Destiny 2 content. I want to know what you guys are excited to see in the 30th anniversary in the upcoming Witch Queen expansion, and how do you like the 30th anniversary event so far? Let me know down in the comments, and be sure to give me any recommendations that you might want me to do for future videos. I'll be live every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch, so drop on by if you get the chance. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and have a great one.